Hey guys, and welcome to your chalkboard tutorial workshop with me. I'm your host, Jamie Romcke. This is going to be a lot of fun. So here's what you need. First of all, you're going to need some chalk. Any type of chalk will do. Thick chalk, thin chalk, coloured, white, doesn't really matter. You're also going to need a chalkboard or some coloured paper would work. Anything that's dark that you'll be able to see chalk on. And then some water and an old cloth. Not a new cloth, an old cloth. So we're starting here with drawing a circle, simple shape. This sign I'm going to make is a bunch of words within the circle, and it will end up looking pretty cool at the end. This is just one way to do it, not every way to do it. Then I've drawn some lines across, and you'll see me count the lines in a second, but I'm just working out how many words I want to do. So I already had an idea sketched out on a piece of paper beforehand, and you're welcome to do the same, but we're working top to bottom and we're going to do line by line. So you'll see me start, I'm just spacing out letters and figuring out what's going to go where. We're doing a Bible verse, classic Bible verse, just so people in the street can see, and so they can be encouraged by what you've drawn or what you've written. But feel free to experiment and do whatever you need to. So what I'm going to show you across this video is different types of font techniques and different ways that you can draw with a chalk and colour in with the chalk, all that sorts of stuff within this circular frame. So we're writing I can do all for the first line, and if you can guess what the ending is going to be before I finish, well done, I'm very impressed. You can see that I'm rubbing out the background circle lines as we go. That's just so it can stay a bit neater. If I rub them all out at the end, I might accidentally rub out what I've drawn, what I want to keep. But this is just so I can colour in after I've rubbed out the lines. The colouring in process is what hurts your hand the most. So you don't have to colour in at all, but it looks a lot more bold if you do. So just having fun colouring in for the moment. You can see my writing went really thin on the side with the I to thin again on the side with the all, but thicker in the middle. That's because I'm following that circle shape. So that's called a template. Then we're starting on our second line. Got some bigger letters. I wouldn't suggest colouring it in straight away, but I clearly don't listen to my own rules. So it's definitely okay if you stuff up your outlines. It's not important. If you're going to colour them in anyway, you can have as many attempts as you want, and that's why you've got the water and the cloth, so you can keep rubbing out and redoing as many times as you want. And then we can colour in again. Remember, I'm a perfectionist, but you don't have to be. None of this is going to be marked or anything, so really the first step of creativity is just doing it or just starting. And especially with chalk, you might smudge it with your finger, or you might breathe on it and it'll go a bit weird, but that's okay because it's not about being perfect, it's about just getting it done and seeing it through all the way to the end. The finished product is always much better, but if you give up halfway through, that's not going to look good. So here we're drawing a banner. This is a different type of technique of drawing. So you draw your outline of the banner first, and on one side you draw like a Z shape, and on the other an S shape down the bottom, and then you attach it with the little triangles like I did. You can slow it down, pause the video if you need to copy the exact shape. I realized that I drew my right side of my banner too thin, so I redid it. And then you want to do the letters in the middle really thick, like really as thick as you can, because you're going to colour in all the background of the banner and not the letters themselves. So they'll actually end up a bit thinner than what you expect. So now you can see I'm colouring in the background, and that's that's just how we get the letters to stay where they are, instead of colouring in the whole thing first and then rubbing it out, which would look not as great. So this is the way to get past that. You can also see that I've mainly stuck to block letters because they're the easiest to do with chalk. Next I'll do some cursive and you'll see, but the block letters are really easy to do. Now the trick with the banner is you want to leave a little bit of black gap right on the edges. You can see it on the edge of the banner on both sides. The gap gives it some depth, and that's what makes it really stand out. Now we're going to try some cursive. And you can see I stuff it up, and then we try again. So I draw a simple line first, all the way along. If your handwriting is not fabulous, maybe get someone to help you. And then we're going to go thicker on every single time you drew downwards. So it's called a downstroke. So every time I would have drawn down on the chalk, that's where I'm going to make it a bit thicker. Kind of hard to tell, but that's the cheat, if you will. So we're going down, 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 and finish one there. And then your last one, we're going to do what's called a surfboard. So it goes thinner, then thicker, then thinner again, but we're following the shape of the curve on the top and the bottom. And here I failed to follow my own advice again, and I figured out that I had drawn the S too big, so I had to redo that S and redo the whole letters. And this one is actually a really good idea to do, is to space out your letters individually, so you can see I'm doing that there, and then you can draw each letter, knowing that it's in the right spot. The other thing that I realize that I do a lot when I'm doing chalk drawings is that I manage to not spell correctly. So if you can catch my spelling mistake before I do it, I'll be really impressed, but I do catch myself, so it's okay. It is spelled correctly by the end. See the S popped up at the little top up there, and there was the spelling mistake. Almost did a H when it should have been a T. There you go. And then we can colour that bad boy in. Seem to be taking a lot of time with that S. Now, doing it all in white is really cool, but we're going to add some colour as well if you had some colour. If not, white seriously is perfect, and it is enough. I just like adding some colour because it gives a little bit of flair and something extra you could do. You could do each word in a different colour, it wouldn't matter. You have to do it your own way. This is just an idea, so pick your own verse, do it in a circle, do it in a flag. It's totally up to you. Don't forget to add where it came from, which is what I do here. And I realized again that I struggled to spell correctly, but we fixed that too. many mistakes, and there we go. And now we're going to add some color. So on this one I'm adding all of the shadows, so every time the light would hit the left side of the words or the letter, that's where I'm drawing the blue. So I'm sort of tracing the letter just only on one side and then colouring that just a little bit. Gives it a little bit more depth, makes it look a bit thicker. And then I got some green. And all I'm doing on this one is just drawing the letter inside the letter, so it's just simple lines in the middle. Now, it's really hard to see on camera, but in person you'll notice that this looks a lot better, especially when you do it on your own one. And then some yellow, I just coloured in just the background-ish bits of the banner, just spits and specks everywhere. To give that a bit of colour. And notice I'm not going all the way in, just a little bit. On this one I did the same as the blue, but I did it with an orange. and it's really light, so it just looks like white. And then on this one I did some red, just drew lines all the way through, and gave this one a bit of an outline, because outlines are a bit of fun. And realistically, you don't even have to colour in any of these words, you can do them however you want to. But I think when it's coloured in bold on a black background like this, it just shows a little bit more and it makes it stand out a bit more, so people could read it from a distance. And that's the goal, is so we can spread some love to some people walking past. Everyone's doing their walks in the street, and it would be really cool to see some chalkboard signs out in some windows. I'll show you right at the end. I put mine out in the window so you can see it, and it's just a nice idea to spread some love. So there we go, that's our finished product. Wasn't too difficult step by step, and there it is in the window in the front of the house. Thanks guys.